All right, welcome back to Radio Wasteland. Our topic right now, why have there been so many UFO sightings near nuclear facilities? In the last 75 years, high-ranking U.S. military intelligence personnel have reported UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, near sites associated with nuclear power, weaponry, and technology, from the early atomic bomb development and test sites to active nuclear naval fleets. All of the nuclear facilities, Los Alamos, Livermore, Sandia, Savannah River, all had dramatic incidents where these unknown craft appeared over the facilities and nobody knew where they came from or what they were doing there. And that's a quote from investigative journalist George Knapp. And I'm guessing we all know who that is. Coming at you out of the desert like a Scirocco or whatever. That's his introduction on Coast to Coast.
Yeah.
Nuclear adjacent sightings go back decades. A UFO researcher and author of US UFOs and Nukes, Robert Hastings, Extraordinary Encounters in Nuclear Weapon Sites. Hastings says he's interviewed more than 160 veterans who've witnessed strange things in the skies around nuclear sites. In 1948, green fireballs were reported in the skies near atomic laboratories in Los Alamos and Sandia, New Mexico. And there are a lot of other ones too. The Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana and the Bentwaters Rendlesham Forest incident. Bentwaters housed a secret stash of nuclear weapons in 25 fortified underground bunkers. So, of course, this is a topic that we've dealt with before with a lot of guests.
Sure. Kind of,
but we normally have guests,
really dug into it,
right? Yeah. And it's normally our guests' opinions,
right?
Now, let's, for the sake of argument, remove skepticism that aliens are even coming here at all and stuff like that.
Sure.
What's your take on aliens coming, extraterrestrials, as our last guest corrected me on, coming directly or to nuclear sites? When you hear that, do you kind of scoff at it and say it's odd? Because I have two thoughts on it. One is it's very obviously tied together because here's one thing we fear, here's another thing we fear. We put them together. All of a sudden, we have an infectious zombie vampire werewolf. Of course, we want to shove them together, So it seems like an obvious mix. But then the other part of me, has seen enough science fiction to know that maybe people are trying to wrangle us.
Yeah. Okay, so my thought is that I'm skeptical of this, but if we are, like you say, just leaving aside skepticism for a second and saying, there definitely are a higher percentage of UFO sightings near these sites that are in fact aliens, then what I'm thinking is that either is that the aliens know something we don't know. Namely, either we're going to destroy ourselves in a nuclear holocaust, or we're missing the massive implications of nuclear power somehow. Like maybe they're just waiting to see if we crack, cold fusion or whatever.
So it's like First Contact, Star Trek, when we get the warp drive and now the Vulcans are willing to be our buddy.
Yeah, maybe it's some intergalactic regulation, once they have this, once they reach this benchmark, they can talk to us. Or it's a great filter kind of thing and they're waiting to see if we destroy ourselves.
Yeah, I have a third option. So I went to college back in my 20s, dropped out.
Nice. Yeah.
Dropped out. I took basic sociology, which I also dropped out of, but I was in it long enough to know that there are three really rudimentary views of sociology. One is interactionism, the belief that interactions between two people is what changes the world and motivates the world. One is functionalism, the belief that groups of people's interaction is what motivates and changes the world. Okay. And the last one is conflict theorism, the belief that everybody's basically in a battle for resources. And, maybe they just don't want us to mess up something that could be good for them.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, maybe they're like watching us and they're opposed to us using nuclear, because I kind of feel in the world of space travel and in the world of the cosmos, a nuclear explosion, even our largest bomb
Sure.
that we've never blown up, we think will leave a crater a mile wide and just be massive.
Sure.
But in the cosmic world, I don't imagine that to be so huge. But what it could do is ruin our own planet, and therefore they would say like, "Oh, this one's ruined. We can't
Right.
take their stuff no more."
Well, the fallout of a nuclear bomb doesn't last terribly long, though.
Well, nuclear war.
Even with a nuclear war, it doesn't last that long. It only a couple weeks, really. It can persist in some, sources for longer. But
what about Chernobyl and these places that are still toxic?
Chernobyl wasn't a nuclear bomb; it was a nuclear reactor that melted down, and you've got a lot more fissile material there, and it just. I'm not an expert, obviously, but just
you're more of an expert than I am, so lay it on me, sister.
the way the two processes work, just one leaves a lot more radioactivity sitting around.
I get you.
A nuclear bomb doesn't have nuclear waste.
What about fallout and nuclear winter and these things that?
Oh, so nuclear winter is a huge problem. But fallout, like I said, is mostly gone within like 2 weeks. Because the bomb is just packed with enough radioactive particles to have that critical mass so it can
to start the chain reaction.
But a nuclear power plant is full of highly radioactive waste, which is not fissile. It's just gunk that's super radioactive and will take hundreds of years to decay.
I see.
And that, there's no reason to pack a bomb full of that unless it's a dirty bomb, in which case the idea is to leave behind fallout, which of course would be a horrible catastrophe.
Okay, so I have another motivation. Maybe they want us to nuke each other out so they can come and take the planet.
Yeah, you'd think they'd be a little more proactive, if that's what they wanted to happen. If they have the technology, they could easily just, send an ICBM of their own just from Russia, kickstart this whole thing.
Listen, they only have half the amount of weight. Have you ever seen a big movie? So you got big movies, you got somebody in their makeup and they're constantly like complaining that they've been in the makeup chair for 4, 5, 6 hours. Now imagine being a reptilian and having to put on human skin in order to, I mean, this is a good 6 hours in the makeup chair before you're even able to try to infiltrate to fire the missile.
It's true. So they're too busy primping to hearing about Armageddon, I see.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, well, now I have a question. Is this just sightings near nuclear silos, or is it sightings near nuclear power sources, or both?
All of the above. The article even cited naval fleets, like nuclear powered naval fleets.
No, that's weird. They're just, if this is genuine, there just must be something that we don't know about nuclear power.
Yeah.
There must be some other element to it. Maybe it's just like this is the only weapon we have that could conceivably hurt them. So they're like
constantly checking it out to say, okay, well,
these
people aren't a threat.
Right. Maybe it's something like we have people on standby, so in case they figure out about a little probing operation and, announce that we're here, we will immediately zap all the nuclear bombs so that they can't hurt us in case things go south, and then we can negotiate.
Did you just refer to the aliens coming here as their little probing operation?
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. All right. So, coming up next here, we have a really weird one. We have a couple seconds here. We're going to try to pronounce this. Alyoshenka.
I think that's right.
The Christian dwarf. Alyoshenka, the Christian dwarf. This is a weird one. Come on back. Still nuclear. You're listening to Radio Wasteland.